the Mediterranean, a forgotten Eden. It has shared its riches with people for thousands of years. Home to mysterious places and scenes of past tragedies. A world that still harbors astonishing untold secrets in its blue depths. Adventure Ocean Quest. An encounter with a world under the waves. With divers who become underwater beings themselves. They work together with scientists on all the world's oceans. Deep under the surface of the water, without a sound and without a breath. Adventure in the depths of the sea, the likes of which has never been seen before. Freediver Frédéric Bouilly is on an extraordinary quest. For thousands of years, the Mediterranean had been abused and turned into a veritable cesspool by the people living along its shores. Now he wants to take stock. What condition will he find the Mediterranean in? And how have people changed this underwater world? His extraordinary freediving abilities, sensitivity, and not least his courage allow Frédéric to become part of his underwater surroundings. He manages to uncover spectacular secrets that remain hidden to most. Only a diver that behaves like a fish is able to really get close to them. His noiseless and extremely flexible diving technique allows him to investigate places that remain out of reach for conventional divers. He can experience this world in a new way. He's searching for traces of the underwater paradise that the Mediterranean used to be. 50 kilometers off the French coastline near Marseille lies the Galabon, ready to begin a 3-week expedition of the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean has a surface area of around 2.5 million square kilometers and is among the most ravaged sea regions in the world. On board, an unusual team anxious to begin their mission. It includes a renowned underwater cinematographer and 2 of the best free divers in the world. Christian Petron has a wealth of experience, including Luc Besson's cult movie, The Big Blue. The Belgian Frédéric Bouilly, former world record holder that has now devoted himself to underwater photography. His security diver is the record-breaking freediver William Winram. So I heard from a lot of people that there's not much life in the Med. And, I've only dove around Nice and a few other places and not seen a lot of fish, so don't know what to expect. You'll be surprised. With Christian, we're going to show you some of the nicest place, and it will change your idea about the Mediterranean Sea forever. Really? Yeah, I look forward to it. Finally, the expedition gets underway. They're heading east to the island of Porquerolles and the wreck of the Donateur, the remains of a freighter that hit a mine after the end of World War II and sank. Wrecks have always been favorite dive spots, not least because of the sense of mystery and danger that surrounds them. For me, that kind of dive is the essence of freediving. It's what I like to do in freediving, because going to 50 meter zone with current, no visibility, no line to guide you, and just use your senses to get, somehow it's a sixth sense to find a wreck, because you don't know exactly where it is. You feel maybe the big metallic mass at the bottom of the sea to guide you. I think that's the essence of freediving. Okay, this morning we looked for diving on the Donato. Is a wreck sinking during just after the World War II. It was very, very nice work. We have to do a good diving plan. William and I will be able to do 4 dives, not more. No. Also, on the wreck, when we arrive first, there's a lot of chance to see a big school of fish with tentacles, bream, and stuff. So we have to be very silent when we arrive on top of the wreck, not to scare them away. If they are there, it's very spectacular. You'll see a lot of fish. The problem is in the middle of the channel between these 2 islands, which means you have a lot of current there. That's why it's a rich wreck, but also it makes a very difficult dive. Yeah. Okay, let's go. From their base on the Galabon, the team approaches the Donateur's wreck site with a more versatile Zodiac. The weather looks promising, but it gives little indication of the conditions below the water surface. Currents, visibility, and water temperature are all unknown. For dives like this one in considerable depths, everything has to be just right, no matter how experienced the divers might be. Dead ship are overrun with knife. It seems nature has conquered the barren bleakness of human technology and turned it into a true paradise. The color is revealed by the spotlights are incredible. And although the color red is swallowed up in the blue depths, it is there, spectacularly exposed by the artificial light. This dive is a serious challenge for the freedivers. Just to get here and back, they have to cover over 100 meters on a single breath. Once at the wreck, they have to be careful to conserve energy to avoid a potential blackout on the way back. Reefs are like underwater islands in the blue expanse of the ocean. They offer shelter and food for all kinds of underwater creatures. And while the wreck of the Donateur is an artificial island, it has been here for over 60 years, allowing masses of organisms to colonizing it, turning it into a true underwater city. So the wreck attracts divers in droves. On resurfacing, Fred and Will have to be extremely careful not to be hit by the numerous boats. A collision with the ship's propeller could be fatal. Bonne journée! Bonne sortie! Underwater, peace and quiet prevails. Until the scuba divers arrive, everything changes dramatically. The exhaled bubbles from all these divers now dominate the wreck. Mud is whirled up from the seabed. The fish retreat. For Fred, there is nothing left to see here. It's really interesting. When we arrived, our first 2 dives at 20 meters, you could see the wreck clearly. Now, with all the movement on it, all the sediment being stirred up, at 20, it's barely visible. It's the Muppet Show down there. I've already 110 divers. With that boat arriving, will be more than 150. The same dive spot. It's just crazy. Voilà, il faut tout voilà. Voilà. It's time for the divers to have a rest. For Christian Petron, this expedition is part of a personal mission. 25 years ago, he already documented the catastrophic pollution of the French Mediterranean to raise awareness of its enormous scale. Voilà, regarde. Ça, c'est des images tournées. These are the pictures we filmed 25 years ago in front of Marseille. There was absolutely no treatment of the raw sewage. Nothing. Rien du tout. No, nothing was treated. This was practically the toilet for 300,000 people. 300,000 personnes. It all went directly into the sea. Tout. Et c'était à la mer. C'était un véritable... It was a real cesspool. On a plongé. We went diving here to show the damage to the coastal waters. Fait tout autour de la côte. Et là, tout était mort. Everything was dead here. The fish, all dead. Now sit down. It was a disaster. Shocking pictures like these were part of the trigger for one of the most progressive environmental projects in the Mediterranean. A massive artificial reef in the Bay of Marseille. Sandrine Duiton, from the Université de la Méditerranée, is the scientific leader of the project. Yeah. She takes Fred out to the reef. Vas-y. This project could be compared to the reforestation of a desert. This is the map of the artificial reefs. Yeah, nice. Ce qui est intéressant, c'est tout de même que that's interesting because we've built several ecosystems next to each other which benefit from each other, as you can see. Voilà. Donc, the inside of the artificial reef is made up of concrete boxes. They allow a complex structure and provide a variety of living spaces for different species and growth. Voilà. The buoy is there for the diver's orientation. From the surface, it's impossible to make out this new-built estate for underwater creatures. It lies at a depth of around 20 or 30 meters. Hobby divers and fishermen are banned from this area. Disturbances are to be kept to a minimum. But the free divers' sensitive and unobtrusive